Chosen one, this video is not an accident. This is not just another scroll on your feed. This is a divine moment. Heaven has stepped into your timeline. Right now, angels are moving. Right now, your name is echoing in places your feet haven't touched yet. You didn't click this by curiosity. You were pulled by the Spirit. You were drawn because the scroll with your name on it just opened. You may not feel ready. You may still feel broken. But let me tell you something, this isn't about how you feel. This is about what heaven already knows. You are chosen. You are marked. You are not forgotten. This moment is proof that God has not let go of you. Here's a reason you felt off lately. A reason the old places don't feel right anymore. You're not crazy. You're not lazy. You're not drifting. You're being shifted. Hidden. Not because you're lost, but because God has been keeping you. Protecting you. Preparing you. You've wondered why things didn't work out. Why doors slammed shut. Why people walked away. It's not because you're rejected. It's because you're reserved. Reserved for something holy. Something weighty. Something only you can carry. Chosen one, can you feel it? The fire. The stirring. That's not anxiety. That's alignment. That's heaven waking you up. Because you can't stay in hiding forever. You've been prepared in the shadows, but now the light is calling your name. This is heaven grabbing you by the Spirit and saying, it's time. You are not who the world said you are. You are not the sum of your failures. You are not the label that pain tried to stick to your life. You are chosen. And not chosen like a name picked out of a hat. No. You are chosen like a warrior hand-selected before you were ever born. Before you cried your first tear, heaven wrote your name in the scroll of divine assignment. Before your parents knew your name, the angels did. There's a reason you never felt like you fit in. A reason you always felt like an outsider even in familiar places. That ache in your chest when others celebrated things you couldn't connect with, that wasn't pride. That was proof. Proof that your spirit was designed for deeper things. Your soul has always been tuned to a higher frequency. And while others were building for applause, you were being built in secret. And the hiding hurt. The silence was heavy. The delay made you question your value. But God wasn't punishing you, He was protecting you. You see, some mantles can't be carried until your back has been strengthened by seasons of silence. Some assignments are too holy to be handed to someone still addicted to human approval. So God let you be misunderstood. He let you be overlooked. Not because He did love you, but because He loved you too much to expose you before you were ready. Every time you cried alone, every time you prayed and got silence, every time you felt like quitting but didn't, you were being shaped. Toward you. Pressed like oil out of an olive. That oil doesn't come easy. It comes from crushing. And chosen one, you've been crushed, haven't you? Crushed by betrayal. Crushed by loss. Crushed by the weight of questions you didn't have answers to. But heaven never looked away. God was watching. The angels were recording. And every drop of pain was turned into power. You don't need a title to be called. You don't need a stage to be used. You don't need a crowd to be seen. Because heaven already knows your name. And the spirit realm has known who you are long before you knew how to pray. That's why the warfare hit so early. That's why hell tried to take you out before you even got started. Because the enemy saw the seal on your life. He saw the mark. The same mark that made David dangerous when he was still tending sheep. The same oil that found him in a field when no one else saw value. That same oil is running over your life right now. And though you feel hidden, heaven is about to reveal you. Type Amen in your heart if you believe today's blessing is for you. Chosen one, there's a reason the fire never went out, even when you felt like you had nothing left. It flickered in the darkness. It whispered when your voice was gone. It stayed when everything else left. That flame was not your doing. It was God's deposit. It was the signature of heaven on your soul, proof that your calling was not canceled by your chaos. That fire stayed because it was never meant to go out, it was meant to grow. And now that fire is turning into a blaze. The wilderness you walked through wasn't a detour. It was the blueprint. It was the holy ground where your identity was carved and your discernment was born. You didn't learn God's voice through ease. You earned it through storms. You didn't learn how to stand when everything was good. You learned by falling and getting back up when no one saw. That's why your roots go deep. That's why your spirit doesn't crack like others when the pressure rises. You were trained in the quiet, prepared in the shadows. And the enemy has always known that a hidden warrior is the most dangerous kind. That's why the attacks weren't random. That's why the pain didn't stop after one hit. It came in waves. Not because you were weak, but because hell was hoping to wear you down. Because hell knows what happens when a chosen one gets back up. When a hidden one starts to believe again. When a wounded one dares to rise. That's when things shift. That's when strongholds shake. That's when the very atmosphere around you starts to obey the sound of your surrender. You thought you were just surviving, but you were gaining rank. Every silent prayer, every moment you didn't retaliate, every time you forgave instead of fought back, heaven recorded it all. The tears you cried in the dark have been seen. They've been stored. And now, like seeds planted in a forgotten field, they are about to spring forth with power. The season of silent growth is over. The season of unveiling has begun. But do not confuse unveiling with ease. This isn't the end of battle. It's the beginning of war. But now, you're not fighting to prove your worth. You're fighting from a place of knowing. And when you know who you are, the enemy can't distract you with lies. When you're rooted in truth, you don't flinch at the sound of opposition. You speak, and things shift. Not because your voice is loud, but because your voice is authorized. You've been wondering why the pressure increased when you got closer to peace. It's because hell panicked. The closer you get to clarity, the more the enemy throws confusion. But confusion is not the sign to stop. It's the sign you're walking in divine timing. Heaven is unlocking blueprints now. Not for everyone, only for the yielded. Only for the broken vessels who have said, "I'm still here, Lord. Use me." And you, chosen one, are one of them. You didn't come this far to sit still. You didn't survive this long to shrink back. You are here, alive, breathing, with fire still burning in your bones, because the scroll with your name on it has reached the point of release. It's being read aloud in the Spirit. And the angels are not just watching. They are moving. They are surrounding. They are preparing your path. And yet, the next step isn't about striving. It's about surrender. Not about proving anything. It's about obeying everything. Because the same God who called you will carry you. He's not asking for your perfection. He's asking for your yes. And when you give him your yes, even in fear, even with shaking hands, even with a heart still healing, he will use you in ways you never imagined. There's something sacred about the way you've been kept. Others saw the silence around you and thought you were being overlooked, but they couldn't see the covering. They couldn't see the angels standing guard. They didn't hear the conversations in the heavens about your life. They didn't see the times God said not yet, not because you weren't ready, but because what you were carrying needed more room to form. You weren't being punished. You were being positioned. Set apart, not set aside. Hidden, not forgotten. You were covered in seasons where others were being seen. While they built platforms, God was building you. While they gathered crowds, heaven was gathering strength inside your spirit. And now, the unveiling is coming not because you chased it, but because you endured the silence without quitting. Because you trusted even when clarity didn't come. Because you praised even when heaven felt quiet. That kind of faith has weight. And heaven puts weight on the ones who can carry it. Some of the people who left weren't assigned to your next chapter. Let that sink in. They didn't leave because you lacked something. They left because their season expired. Their presence would have polluted your purpose. Their voices would have confused your vision. So God, in His mercy, let them walk. And yes, you hurt. Yes, it felt like betrayal. But it was actually protection. You needed space to grow without their opinions. You needed silence to hear God clearly. And now, here you are. Still standing. Not because it was easy, but because you were sustained. Not because you had it all figured out, but because you never let go of that whisper in your spirit that said, "There's more." That whisper was the Spirit speaking to your purpose. That ache in your soul. The one that refused to die, that was destiny breathing through the cracks of your brokenness. There were nights where you wanted to disappear, and heaven said no. There were moments you said, "I'm done," and the Spirit said, "Not yet." Because God wasn't finished. The scroll hadn't finished unfolding. The chapter you're stepping into now is not random. It's not coincidence. It's the result of every unseen sacrifice, every hidden yes, every broken moment that you turned into worship. You weren't just surviving, you were sowing. Every tear was a seed. Every lonely night was a moment of intimacy with God, even if you didn't know it at the time. And now those seeds are breaking ground. The time of harvest is coming. But hear this, harvest isn't just joy. It's responsibility. It's movement. It's action. You can't hide in the shadows anymore. The fire in you is not for decoration, it's for destruction of darkness. You were not created to play small. You were not shaped to live a safe, silent life. You were born to shift atmospheres, to speak truth that cuts through noise, to walk into rooms and carry the weight of glory, not for applause, but for impact. Your life was designed to wake people up, and that's why you were attacked so young. That's why the trauma came early. The enemy wanted to shut down your spirit before you ever discovered who you were. But what he didn't see coming was your persistence, your refusal to stay down. Your heart, though broken, still beating, still believing, still open to God. That makes you dangerous. That makes you a threat. And now that you know it, now that the truth is rising in you, everything changes. You can't go back to pretending you're not called. You can't go back to watering down your fire just to fit in. You've been marked. And heaven doesn't make mistakes. Chosen one, what you carry cannot be hidden any longer. A weight on your life is not random. It is not the result of bad luck or wrong choices. It is divine. It is holy. It is the pressure of purpose pressing through the cracks of your past. And now that weight is becoming visible, people will begin to notice the shift in you. They won't always understand it, but they will feel it. Your silence will begin to carry more authority than other people's noise. Your walk will speak even when your words are few, because you are no longer moving as a person alone, you are moving as a vessel. There is a sound being released from your life. It's not a sound of desperation anymore. It's the sound of decision. The sound of someone who has tasted the wilderness and survived. The sound of someone who has cried and stayed faithful. The sound of someone who has nothing left to prove, only something to release. That sound is dangerous to darkness. That sound breaks patterns. That sound wakes the sleeping and unsettles the proud. That's why you felt the tension rising. That's why the warfare hasn't stopped. It's not because you're failing. It's because you're breaking through. The Spirit of God is stirring something fresh in you, and it will look like what others expect. You weren't chosen to copy. You were chosen to create. You weren't anointed to fit the mold. You were anointed to shatter it. There's a wildness in you that religion couldn't cage, a purity that rebellion couldn't kill, a sensitivity that sin couldn't ground. You've been through too much to settle for shallow places. You crave the deep because you were formed in it. You've wondered why certain environments started to irritate your spirit. Why what used to feel normal now feels heavy. It's not emotional. It's spiritual. Your spirit is maturing. Your senses are sharpening. What once entertained you now offends you because the fire inside is growing. That fire is not a phase. It's a signal. A confirmation that you've crossed a line in the spirit. You're not casual anymore. You're not guessing. You're moving with a knowing. That knowing gives you clarity. It helps you see who's really for you and who was sent to distract you. And yes, the more you see, the more you'll have to walk alone. But don't mistake isolation for abandonment. God is making room. Room for glory. Room for vision. Room for voices that speak to your future, not your fear. He's pruning your circle so your spirit can breathe. Here's a mantle falling on you. Not one you earned, but one heaven preserved for this hour. It's heavy. It carries the weight of intercession, of deliverance, of breakthrough. You'll start to notice it in the way people open up to you without knowing why. In the way strangers weep in your presence. In the way demons grow restless when you walk into a room. You didn't ask for this, but heaven chose you for it anyway. And now you must decide, will you keep walking like nothing has changed? Or will you rise like one who understands what they carry? The oil on your life demands obedience. Not perfection. Obedience. That means saying yes even when it doesn't make sense. That means moving forward even when the path isn't clear. That means trusting the voice of God over the voice of fear. So keep walking, chosen one. You are not alone. You are not crazy. You are not behind. You are right on time. The scroll has been opened. The oil is flowing. And the Spirit is ready to do in you what no man could do for you. You've been sensing it in the Spirit before it ever showed up in the natural. That uneasy stirring in your chest, that restlessness in your sleep, that strange pull to pray when others are relaxing, it's not coincidence. It's not anxiety. It's heaven aligning you. You are no longer who you were last year, even last month. Something in you has shifted. And that shift is not emotional height. It's prophetic timing. You are standing in a threshold. 1 foot in what has been. 1 foot in what's becoming. And that middle place feels messy. It feels unclear. But don't run from it. That tension is where transformation happens. The middle is where mantles are fitted. Where fear dies and fire rises. God is not rushing you, but He is requiring you. This is the moment where you decide to burn or to back down. And chosen one, I know you didn't come this far just to quit. You've lost too much, cried too long, been through too many nights of silence to bow out now. Everything you've been through wasn't just for survival. It was for sensitivity. You feel things deeper because you're supposed to. You see what others ignore because you're assigned to it. You pick up on weight in a room because you're built to shift it. That sensitivity isn't weakness. It's spiritual intelligence. And God is going to use it. But He needs you to stop doubting it. Stop apologizing for your discernment. Stop hiding your tears just to look strong. Your tears are sacred. Your sensitivity is not a liability, it's your lens. You've walked into places lately and felt the weight shift. Conversations start and suddenly your spirit feels heavy. That's not just emotion. That's heaven alerting you. That's the call. And with the call comes responsibility. You don't get to carry this and still live like everyone else. You don't get to play in places that poison your purpose. This all comes with cost. And yes, the cost is real. But so is the glory. So is the reward. So is the power. Some of you are about to walk away from relationships that felt right but were actually sent to distract. Not because you hate them. Not because they're evil. But because they cannot go where you are going. Your voices don't feed your future. Their presence pulls you into patterns you've already outgrown. And you feel it. You've tried to make it work. Tried to keep peace. But your spirit is done pretending. You are not who you were when they met you. You've grown. You changing. And you owe it to your calling to walk in that change. Don't be afraid of the shedding. Let it fall. The friendships. The comfort zones. The titles. The expectations. Let it all fall if it doesn't align with your assignment. Because what's ahead of you is too holy to be shared with those who don't honor it. You can't carry revival while keeping compromise in your back pocket. You can't ask for more of God while still dancing with what drains your spirit. This next level demands separation. Comment thank you, Father, if your heart is full of gratitude. Not isolation, but consecration. You'll still have people. But they'll be people who sharpen your sword, not dull your fire. People who speak to your spirit, not just your flesh. People who know how to pray, not just post. To know how to war in silence, not just talk in noise. And God is sending them. You're not meant to walk this scroll alone. But first, He has to clear the room. The one cried will joke the right calling. Keep your eyes open. Keep your heart guarded. Keep your spirit ready. Because the scroll is not slowing down. The movement has begun. The sound has gone out. The angels are not waiting. And heaven is watching to see who responds. Chosen one, don't underestimate what's happening inside of you. Just because it's silent doesn't mean it's small. Just because others can't see it doesn't mean it's not sacred. Some of your biggest breakthroughs are happening in the places no one is clapping for. That private prayer. That quiet surrender. The decision to obey even when no one is watching. Heaven sees it all. And heaven rewards in secret what was planted in silence. This is why your wilderness mattered. It wasn't a punishment. It was preparation. God didn't isolate you to crush you. He set you apart to strengthen you. He allowed the stripping not to shame you, but to sharpen you. Everything He removed had the potential to poison your purpose. That's why it had to go. It wasn't rejection. It was refinement. The silence wasn't absence, it was sacred instruction. You were learning to hear without noise, to trust without confirmation, to walk without being led by applause. And now that kind of faith is rare. That kind of intimacy is costly. But it's what makes you ready. The fire didn't just teach you how to survive. It taught you how to carry something holy. It taught you how to discern voices. How to know when something looked good but wasn't God. You've learned how to move without needing approval, how to pray through pain, how to listen past the loudness. That's what the wilderness gave you. Not fame, not followers, but fire. And that fire is what the world needs now. People are looking for light, but they are tired of the fake glow. They are searching for something that still carries the scent of heaven, something that has weight, something that doesn't shift with every trend. And that's you. You don't have a brand. You had a burden. You don't have a platform. You have a purpose. You weren't made to be liked. You were made to be light. So walk in it. Speak with fire. Move with clarity. Even if your voice shakes, use it. Even if your past tries to scream louder, speak anyway. Your obedience is breaking cycles. Your yes is opening doors. Every time you refuse to shrink, you make room for someone else to rise. Your boldness is prophetic. Your purity is disruptive. Your hunger is contagious. That's why the enemy hates you. That's why the attack hasn't let up. It's not because you're weak. It's because your very presence is a problem to darkness. You carry something eternal, something weighty. You are not just chosen. You are dangerous to the plans of hell. And hell knows that if you ever truly believe who you are, the chains on others will start breaking just because you walked in the room. That's the kind of oil you carry. The kind that shifts atmospheres. The kind that makes demons nervous and angels active. The kind that silences storms just by standing still. Don't doubt what's in you. Don't ignore the fire just because it feels unfamiliar. You weren't made to walk this earth wondering if you matter. You were made to release heaven everywhere you go. You were made to carry scrolls, not just read them. To walk into rooms and carry the assignment, not just the appearance. And that assignment will cost you comfort, but it will cover you with glory. So don't look back. Don't slow down. Don't explain your fire to those still playing with smoke. You don't owe anyone an apology for being awakened. You don't need permission to walk in power. You've been sealed by heaven. And once heaven seals you, no man can unmark you. Chosen one, you have been walking with a weight you couldn't name and a pressure you couldn't escape. And now you understand it wasn't depression, it was direction. It wasn't heaviness for no reason. It was the call pressing against your ribs, demanding that you no longer sit in silence. The mantle resting on your shoulders is not just a gift, it is a responsibility. One that heaven chose you to carry, not because you were perfect, but because you were willing to be crushed and still say yes. The fire on your life will not be explained in words, it will be felt in rooms. The sound of your surrender will echo louder than any microphone. You are not just a believer, you are a breaker of generational patterns, a breaker of cycles that ran through your bloodline, a breaker of silence that bound the mounds of prophets before you. And now, God is using you to say what others were too afraid to voice, to go where others were too intimidated to walk. You have cried for clarity, but what you received instead was capacity. God didn't answer every question. He expanded your endurance. He didn't show you the whole map. He taught you how to walk by faith in the fog. And while you were waiting for a full picture, heaven was watching your persistence, watching you rise again after every hit, watching you choose worship over worry, watching you stand in the dark with fire still in your breath. That is why you're dangerous now, because you no longer need comfort to keep going. You no longer need a crowd to feel called. You've reached the point where even if no one claps, you still speak. Even if no one sees, you still move. Because now you know, Your obedience is not tied to recognition, it's tied to revelation. God showed you who you are in the hidden place so that no platform can make you forget. You are no longer chasing confirmation. You are walking in conviction. That means your steps may look strange. Your yes may look reckless. But heaven honors the ones who move when it's uncomfortable, when it costs, when it confuses others. Heaven doesn't promote the safest. Heaven promotes the surrender. And chosen one, your surrender is loud in the spirit. It is causing divine disruptions. It is drawing angelic attention. And it is shifting everything. Don't be shocked when you feel the ground trembling beneath your feet. Don't be afraid when familiar places start pushing you out. God is not just lifting you, He's launching you. And launches are violent. They require force. They feel like shaking, but they are really separation. Separation from who you were, from what you accepted, from the ceilings you once settled under. Because the version of you that's emerging has no use for cages, no interest in compromise, no tolerance for counterfeit peace. You were forged for more than what they tried to reduce you to. You've been overlooked by people because you've been protected by heaven. And now the stage is set not for a performance, but for a revealing. The revealing of the real you. The one who was shaped in fire. The one who knows how to pray with authority. The one who walks with boldness because they know who sent them. The one who doesn't flinch when darkness rises, because they carry light that can't be extinguished. You are not confused. You are not broken beyond repair. You are rising, not by human effort, but by divine appointment. And every time you take a step, chains that once held you will shatter. Every time you open your mouth, atmospheres will shift. Every time you obey, you will activate movement in others who are waiting on your voice to awaken theirs. Chosen one, the places that once felt like prisons will now become pulpits. The very ground where you whipped will become the ground where you wage war and win. You are returning to those same spaces, not as the wounded version of yourself, but as the weapon God has forged in silence. You will not walk back into them the same. You will always wisdom of win with one. Because now you don't just have experience, you carry evidence. The evidence of what it means to survive the crushing and still burn. God is raising you as a voice in a dry land, not to echo what's already been said, but to release what's never been spoken. You are not here to repeat. You are here to reveal. What heaven has deposited in you during your hidden seasons is now ready to come forth. That's why your dreams have intensified. That's why your prayers have shifted from asking to declaring. You are walking in apostolic confidence, even if your surroundings haven't caught up to your spirit yet. And yes, there will be resistance, because revelation always comes with war. Every time light breaks through, darkness reacts. What you weren't built to break, you were built to break through. The same spirit that raised Jesus from the grave is not just resting on you, it's roaring within you. You will not be silenced. You will not be caged. You will not be delayed by fear one more day. Because the time for waiting has passed. The time for walking has come. The instructions God is giving you now may not come with details. They may not come with comfort, but they come with clarity. And clarity is enough to move. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the next step. You don't need the crowd's agreement to follow God's command. When heaven speaks, obedience becomes your weapon. And when you obey, even without full understanding, you are unleashing a storm of movement in the Spirit. Some of the things you've endured were not for you, they were for those assigned to your voice. The pain you pushed through will become the passage others walk through. Your healing will unlock healing in others. Your scars will become signposts. Every wound that bled in silence will now speak with fire. The testimony you tried to hide will be the very tool God uses to tear down strongholds in others. Right, amen, if your faith is still standing strong. Don't fear the visibility that's coming. It's not for popularity. It's for purpose. You're not being lifted to be seen, you're being lifted to be strategic. You're not being exposed to the world. You're being revealed to your assignment. There's a difference. You were never created to hide forever. God didn't light your fire to keep it under control. He lit it so it could spread. And now, the flame in you is too large for small places. That's why comfort irritates you. That's why shallow conversations exhaust you. Your spirit is stretching. Your reach is expanding. Your vision is maturing. You are not the same. You've been rewired, reassigned, reinforced. You walk with revelation now. And with it comes a new responsibility, one that demands consistency, purity, and fire. Chosen one, you can't return to what you've outgrown. You can't make a home in places where your spirit suffocated. You've been stretched too far to shrink again. And even if you tried to go back, you wouldn't fit. The shape of your calling has changed. The sound of your voice has changed. The rhythm of your life has changed. God has done too much inside you for you to pretend to be who you were before the wilderness. The version of you that was afraid to speak, that stayed silent to stay safe, that questioned every stirring in the spirit, that version is gone. That version served its season. That version helped you survive. But this new version is not here to survive. This version is here to strike. This version is armed, trained, sent. This version has eyes that see deeper, ears that hear quicker, and feet that move with fire. You don't need confirmation anymore. You carry commission. The breaking you went through was not wasted. It wasn't just emotional, it was prophetic. Every tear became a tool. Every delay became discipline. Every betrayal became a bridge to deeper glory. You are not just emotionally strong, you are spiritually lethal. Because nothing teaches obedience like being broken. And nothing fuels fire like being forgotten. God didn't just let the pain come. He used it to carve capacity into you. And now, when you speak, there is weight. When you move, there is force. When you pray, there is fire. The authority you carry didn't come from a pulpit. It came from the pit. You earned it through the groaning. Through the quiet nights where your only prayer was breath. Through the moments where faith didn't shout, it just survived. And now that survival has matured into strength. Now that strength is being called into service. And this is not the time to question it. This is not the moment to play small for the comfort of those who can't understand the cost. You don't owe anyone an explanation for the oil on your life. You don't need to tone down your urgency so others feel better in their delay. You weren't chosen to make people comfortable. You were chosen to confront systems, to carry purity, to deliver what's holy without apology. This is why your process was so intense, why the fire was so hot. God wasn't just getting you ready for a blessing. He was preparing you to carry burden, to carry answers, to carry revelation. That kind of weight requires breaking. That kind of purpose demands pressing. And now, that pressing has produced oil. Oil that can't be bought. Oil that can't be stolen. Oil that came from seasons where you bled and still believe. So what will you do with it? Will you let it sit? Will you hide it? Will you keep pretending you're still the same? Or will you rise like one who knows heaven is waiting? Because, chosen one, heaven is waiting. The scroll has your name. The angels are watching. Chosen one, the hour is late, but the glory is rising. And you are not behind schedule. You are not late. You are right on time. You were not forgotten in the delay, you were being hidden for the reveal. The world sees delay as denial, but heaven sees it as development. And what was developing in you behind the scenes is now too powerful to keep hidden. What God formed in you under pressure is now demanding release. The oil in your life is speaking, and it's saying, now. The pull you feel in your spirit isn't pressure, it's prophecy. It's the sound of heaven remembering your name. It's the echo of the courts of glory calling you into place. Your hesitation cannot silence what heaven has spoken. Your doubts cannot cancel what God has declared. You've tried to delay it, tried to ignore it, tried to play small so you wouldn't have to carry the weight, but the weight won't go away. Because it was assigned to you before your first breath. Even when you tried to sabotage it, grace kept you. Even when you ran, the oil followed you. Even when you forgot your worth, heaven never forgot your name. That's what makes you chosen. Not that you've been perfect, but that God has been faithful. Faithful to pursue you, to protect you, to preserve you when you should have been lost. And now, that preservation is turning into propulsion. You will not walk into your next season timid. You will not move forward apologizing for your calling. You will not hide your voice just to make others feel secure in their silence. The time for that is over. This is not a season to blend in. This is a season to burn. The fire that's been building in your bones is not for your comfort, it's for their freedom. People are waiting on your roar. Not the poly version. The real one. The raw one. The one forged in pain and lit by prophecy. Some of the very things you begged God to take away were the tools He used to shape you. Some of the darkest moments in your story are about to become the brightest torches in your hand. Because where you bled, now you will break chains. Where you wept, now you will release water. Where you were crushed, now you will carry power. Heaven wastes nothing, not even your weakness. Especially not your weakness. That's what qualifies you. Not the image. Not the skill. Not the network. The scars. The tears. The nights you didn't quit. The days you had every reason to walk away and still chose worship. That's where authority is born. And you carry it now. You don't even realize the firepower in your walk. But hell does. That's why the attacks came early. That's why the resistance had been relentless. Because even when you didn't know who you were, darkness did. But now you know. And now you're responsible for that knowing. You can't unknow the sound of heaven. You can't unhear the call. You can't go back to comfort when you've been ruined by revelation. This word will not let you sleep in peace if you choose to ignore it. Because God is not asking you to consider it. He's commanding you to carry it. The scroll has been unsealed, and your spirit knows it. Chosen one, the heavens have waited long enough for your agreement. This isn't about inspiration anymore, it's about activation. This is the line in the sand. This is where your old self is buried, and the real you, the warrior, the breaker, the builder, emerges from the ashes. The scroll with your name on it has already been opened, and heaven isn't just watching your response, it's moving based on it. The longer you hesitate, the more weight you feel. Because when a mantle is released, it must be received. And this mantle is not light. It's not convenient. It's not trendy. It's heavy with holy purpose. It demands that you walk different, think different, move different. You can't walk in mantle-level authority while living in microwave-level maturity. This oil demands depth. It requires surrender. Not just on Sunday, but on Monday morning. Not just in church, but in hidden rooms. It costs your comfort. But what you gain is presence, real presence. The kind that shifts rooms without shouting. The kind that convicts without a single word. You've been walking around carrying something others don't see, but heaven sees it. The enemy sees it. That's why you attract strange warfare. That's why atmospheres tighten when you enter. That's why people shift in your presence. It's not you, it's what you carry. You are a walking reminder that darkness cannot reign forever, and strongholds can fall. That mantles still move through the earth on people who are willing to be yielded. And yes, you've made mistakes. You've questioned your own worth. You've wondered if too much time has passed. But hear this, your history didn't cancel your calling. It refined it. God is not after your perfection. He's after your positioning. He's not asking you to feel ready. He's asking you to stay willing. Because the moment you say yes, not in your feelings but in your spirit, things shift. Chains break. Trolls unfold. The heavens align around your agreement. You don't need more signs. This is the sign. You don't need more time. The time is now. That fire you feel burning in your belly, that sense of holy urgency, it's real. It's not hype. It's not emotion. It's the signal that you're being called to rise. And you know it. You've known it for a while now. You've just been waiting for someone to confirm what your spirit has already been shouting. So let me confirm it. This is your confirmation. This is your release. This is your summons. You've been trusted with something that others forfeited. That's why your journey was longer. That's why your crushing was deeper. Because you were never being trained for average impact. You were being trained to carry legacy. The kind that outlives you. The kind that marks territories. The kind that breaks chains and bloodlines. And heaven chose you for it. The world doesn't need another celebrity. It needs consecrated ones. Marked ones. Yielded ones. And you are one of them. Not because you said all the right things, but because you said yes when it didn't make sense. Because you kept standing when everything in you screamed to quit. Because you've carried weight in private that would have crushed others in public. So now, walk like you carry glory. Speak like you carry authority. Move like you carry answers. You don't have time to play it safe. You don't have time to worry about who understands your fire. The trumpet has sounded. The final instructions are being released. And your name is on the scroll. Heaven is waiting. Chosen one, you must understand your awakening is not just about you. Your surrender is not just your breakthrough. It is the unlocking of gates for generations. It is the tearing down of structures that have held your family, your bloodline, and your region in bondage. You were not just born to live. You were born to war. To carry fire into dry places. To confront the demonic systems that tried to shut your mouth before you ever found your voice. And now that you found it, you cannot turn the volume down. This is why your warfare has felt so personal. Because your call is not general. It is direct. It is disruptive. Hell launched surgical attacks against your mind because your mind was the gate to a mantle. If the enemy could trap your thoughts, he could mute your destiny. But he failed. You're still here. Still breathing. Still burning. And now your mind is being renewed. Your thoughts are becoming weapons. Your voice is becoming a sword. You are not rising as someone trying to figure out if they are called. You are rising as someone who knows. Someone who's been marked. Someone who has scars to prove it. You are not guessing anymore, you are walking in full knowledge. And that knowing is power. Because when you know who you are, You don't bow to intimidation. You don't flinch at resistance. You don't shrink when warfare comes. You rise. You release. And yes, the pressure will increase. But so will the grace. So will the backing of heaven. When you move in obedience, heaven moves with you. You don't walk alone. You walk surrounded. Angels have been assigned to your steps. The Spirit of God is ordering your decisions. This isn't about talent. It's about timing. You've been prepared for such a time as this. Your yes is unlocking more than you know. The fire that's on your name is drawing attention in the spirit realm. Demons are trembling because they see you waking up. They see the oil rising on your voice. They see the scroll unfolding over your life. And they know once you fully step in, territories will shift. Patterns will break. Chains will fall. And hell will lose ground it's held for too long. This is why you cannot delay. This is why you cannot question if you're worthy. You've been deemed worthy by the blood. You've been authorized by the scars. You've been summoned by the scroll. And now the heavens are watching your next move. You are not waiting for a better season. You are the season. You are the move. You are the sound. There is no more room for passive faith. This is the time of the wild ones, the burning ones, the broken but willing ones, the remnant that says, I don't care who leaves. I don't care who mocks. I will go. I will speak. I will carry what others drop. That's who you are. Not by accident. Not by coincidence. By divine decision. Chosen one. The urgency you feel is not emotional, it's eternal. It is heaven's clock striking now in your spirit. That pressure you've been sensing. It's not because you're behind. It's because the atmosphere around you is responding to the weight of your calling. You've outgrown the old wineskin, and your spirit is pressing against the walls of what no longer fits. You can't wear garments from a season you've already been freed from. You've been wrapped in humility, but now it's time to step into holy boldness. And boldness doesn't mean arrogance. It means obedient. It means walking when others hesitate. It means speaking when silence feels safer. It means choosing consecration over convenience. You can't blend in with what you were sent to break. You can't be casual with what heaven considers critical. The anointing on your life was not designed for ease, it was designed for impact. And impact always comes with resistance. But you're not here to be liked. You're here to be light. You weren't anointed to be accepted, you were anointed to be effective. That means your presence will offend systems. Your purity will confront culture. Your yes will irritate every place that once fed off your silence. Don't expect the enemy to be silent while you awaken. He's loud because you're moving. He's active because you're advancing. His panic is proof of your progress. Some of the warfare you've been experiencing is backlash from the spirit realm because your name has been called in glory. And when glory speaks, everything must respond. Your dreams have changed. Your prayers have deepened. Your hunger hath grown. That's not a sign of confusion, it's a sign of collision. Heaven is colliding with your reality. The blueprint in your spirit is now becoming the blueprint of your life. This is the time to press in, not pull back. You must press into presence. Press into purity. Press into prophetic instruction. Because the scroll isn't just a word, it's a weapon. It's being placed in your hands for battle. Not the kind that uses your strength, but the kind that flows from surrender. You don't need to know the outcome. You just need to obey the next step. Heaven is already in motion. All of creation is watching, groaning, waiting for you to rise. And as you rise, don't look for applause. Look for alignment. Don't seek attention. Seek assignment. You are not called to be popular. You are called to be prophetic. That means your life may look strange. Your path may look lonely. But your fruit will carry the fingerprints of heaven. You will walk into dry places and rivers will spring forth. You will stand in broken systems and order will return. You will speak into silence and fire will fall. This is not hype. This is not motivational fluff. This is divine commission. You did come here to get inspired. You came here to get ignited. And you can feel it, can't you? That holy fire rising in your chest. That trembling in your spirit. That's not nerves. It's heaven roaring in your bones. That's the sound of your scroll being read aloud. Type thank you, God, if He's been good to you. Chosen one, the sound you carry is not for entertainment, it's for awakening. The anointing resting on your life was not poured out to build a brand. It was poured out to break chains, to pull down strongholds, to ignite dry bones. You were not raised up for a stage. You were raised up for a shift. And every ounce of pain you survived has only increased your authority to lead that shift. You're not here to impress crowds, you're here to confront darkness. This is the reason God let you feel rejection so deeply. He was weaning you off the need for human approval. He was teaching you that your identity cannot be anchored in who claps or who stays. Because when you're truly chosen, God becomes your applause. His whisper becomes your validation. His presence becomes your audience. And that's why you're dangerous now. You no longer seek the validation of men, you seek the voice of God. And that voice has been calling you out of the shadows. Not to be finished, but to be faithful. Not to be sin, but to be sent. The Spirit is calling you to step into the fire without fear. Because that fire won't burn you, it will brand you. It will mark you with boldness. It will awaken the dormant places inside you. The parts of your calling you buried under trauma, under doubt, under timelines that didn't go as planned, God is digging them up again. You will feel the fire return to old dreams. You will feel tears rise without warning. You will find your spirit praying in ways you've never prayed before. Because the awakening isn't just coming to the world, it's starting with you. And when God awakens a chosen one, He doesn't ask for perfection. He asks for availability. He's not looking for the one who knows the most. He's looking for the one who will say yes the quickest. Your yes in this moment is more powerful than you know. It's echoing through realms. It's piercing through atmospheres. Your yes is unsettling powers that have ruled over places for generations. Because chosen ones carry more than favor, they carry fire. And fire disrupts. Fire consumes. Fire leaves nothing unchained. When you fully walk in this fire, your city will feel it. Your bloodline will feel it. Your enemies will feel it. So stop asking if you're ready. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. You wouldn't be burning like this if you weren't born for it. You wouldn't feel this divine unrest if heaven wasn't pushing you. Here are assignments being released now. Scrolls unfolding. Blueprints dropping in dreams, in prayer, in moments of stillness. Listen. Lean in. The Spirit is not whispering anymore. He is roaring. And you must respond. You have been prepared in silence so you could speak with weight. You have been stretched in obscurity so you could walk in power. Don't compare your story to anyone else's. Don't measure your pace by theirs. Your journey has been customized by the hand of the Most High. And now, He is calling you into divine release. Comment thank you, God, if Jesus means everything to you, and share this video.